I welcome you to our Tuesday night soiree, 30 minutes of coming into the presence of God, the Supreme, known by many names. But we come to just be still and to center our heart in a period of relaxation and also listening for a few thoughts, reflections for the soul to allow us come back into that divine oneness with God. And we welcome you and we thank you for joining us this evening. And though we are many, we come in love. So let us just begin by just closing our mind to all the nonsense and the fear. And let us sense the peace around us. Let us sense the stillness. Let us sense the love and the healing touch of God. I know some of you watching this recording may feel uncomfortable with the word God, and I don't apologize for that. But I do apologize for those who have been commissioned by God to represent a God of love and who've alienated many hearts from embracing the mystical heart of love. I thank you for welcoming into your home, into your heart. And my prayer is that together we can come to the table of many blessings and sense the peace of God, the presence of God, the power of God, the love of God. But first I want to play a beautiful track. And the track is from Shannon All, and she sings "It's a Joy to Get to Know You."
It's a joy to get to know you.
It's a joy to get to know you,
And I really am liking to share in your work. It's a joy to get to know you.
it's a joy to get to know you, and I really am writing
to share in your word. When your love is deep and quiet, I can hear it so clearly. It's calling forever to share in your world. When your love is deep and quiet, I can hear it so clearly. It's calling forever to share in your world.
It's a joy to get to know you. It's a joy to get to know you, and I really am liking to share in your word.
It's a
Joy to get to know you. It's a joy to get to know you, and I really am liking to share in your word.
When your love is deep and quiet, I can hear it so clearly. It's calling forever to share in your word. When your love is deep and quiet, I can hear it so clearly. It's calling forever to share in
Your word. It's a joy to What a beautiful, beautiful song. It's a joy to get to know you. I'm sure the Cosmic Christ and many of our spiritual teachers who've crossed over are probably saying that to your heart and mine right now. It's a joy to get to know you. I would like to read to you a quote or two from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. He does it for me. He is such a wise and holy man. And though I am a Catholic Christian Franciscan monk who embraces all faiths, this man, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, really does light my fire, as they say. He speaks such words of humility, and they challenge the heart. They reawaken my heart, and I pray they reawaken yours too. Regarding avoid injury to others, His Holiness the Dalai Lama says this: destruction or injury to life is strictly forbidden. Harming or destroying any being from the highest to the lowest, from a human to the tiniest insect, must at all costs be avoided. How true, how true. And then he says, actions speak louder than words. Merely to call oneself a Buddhist is of little value. And I guess that could be true of many of us who call ourselves Christians. For Gandhi, another dear spiritual teacher, who also inspires my heart, says, I like your Christ, but not your Christians, because your Christians are not like your Christ. And that is true. And as a Catholic monk, especially in my younger days when I was a nursing monk, I experienced a lot of uncharitableness, not from non-Catholics, but from within the monastery itself. And I guess the reason for that was because we are human, and a lot of pent-up emotions sometimes explode when you least expect. So we come to this table, we come in love, we come in peace. We come taking the word of Francis to our heart when he asked us with the Lord Christ, reach out to all faiths and none. Reach out to them and just demonstrate hospitality. Leave the rest to us. And we will continue to do that through our live stream channel, where we go live 4 times a day. Morning for prayer, then our evening prayer and our vigil at 8, and now our 30-minute soiree. It is so important to say thank you. And the world we live in is such a beautiful world. But somewhere along the way, mankind seems to have lost the essence of gratitude. People today have expectations where they demand their rights instead of earning them through respect and mutual love. Let us just relax now. Let us be still, and let us come to our Father, Mother, God Supreme with an open heart, where there is no fear, only a loving trust. A loving trust. And I would like to share with you a reflection from the wonderful book, The Interior Castle, which forms the bedrock for the training of our young novices who begin the spiritual journey as monastics to live the simple life from their own home. But the interior castle is a journey. It's not just a book. It's an introduction to your soul, to lead it to that place of contemplation where you can be still in the presence of God and eradicate the fear that alienates so many hearts from experiencing the healing touch of God. This is what Teresa of Avila has to say about the archetypal desert in the soul. She says, here in the third mansion of your soul, you must decide whether you are ready to contain mystical consciousness. In the words of the artist Charles Dubois, the important thing is to be able at any moment to sacrifice what we are for what we can become. Do you really want to return to the temporary comforts of an ordinary life? Imagine a life without mysticism, mystical vision, and divine mystery. Imagine a life without miracles. Imagine a life without divine intervention. Imagine a life in which higher purpose and meaning mean nothing. Imagine a life devoid of your castle, in which you are soulless. If you can go deeply enough into your castle, you can liberate yourself from your fears and truly come to know that you are watched over and guided down to the smallest detail of your life. The rational mind cannot comprehend this mystical truth. But once you accept it fully, you will have gone far enough to cross the desert. Wow. Is that where you are in your journey? That within your being there's a longing, a hankering for closeness with God? But what stops us is our fear. I'm not good enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not capable of making that decision. They are negative voices. They are not the voices of God. They're more the voices of the dark side, trying to take you away from experiencing the peace, the love, and the freedom of God. The freedom of God. Teresa would tell you, as she told her nuns, to go further. Do not rest, she said. This journey is inevitable. There comes a point when resting becomes more difficult than keeping on the journey itself. For you know what you are giving up. Cross the mystical Rubicon. Surrender and let God recorder the flow of your life. You aren't leaving your life. You are re-entering your life. Soul first. Soul first. Teresa did not have to struggle to make a case for the existence of the soul. It was already a living companion for people of her time. Teresa also used words that belong to the soul, that stir the soul, wake it up and bring it to attention. Invite it in to give counsel. We have dismissed or retired much of the soul's vocabulary, putting our souls under a gagging order. Words such as miracle, grace and prayer are part of the sacred. Potent, alchemic language that awakens the soul. Words are power. They are the conduits of consciousness and the building blocks of reality. The ancient mystics knew the power that the words in each prayer contained to open their souls to divine consciousness. To understand the language of the soul and to know how to use that vocabulary in prayer, in healing, and in channeling grace is to truly unlock the power of your soul. For example, the prayer of surrender, "Thy will be done," can be translated to mean, I ask for the courage to step out of my own way, to not interfere with your plans, so that your grace and love can pour through my actions, words, and deeds this day. Let me see each person as a vital and blessed part of my life. Let every action and thought I have today serve all. The following prayer from the Cloud of Unknowing may be helpful. When you feel utterly exhausted from fighting your thoughts, say to yourself, it is futile to contend with them any longer. In doing this, you commend yourself to God. You make yourself completely supple in God's hands. And this attitude is authentic. It is the same as self-knowledge, because you have seen yourself as you really are, less than nothing without God. This indeed, experiential humility, when God beholds you standing alone in this truth, He cannot refrain from hastening to you. Like a father rescuing his small child from the jaws of wild swine or savage bears, He will stoop to you and, gathering you in His arms, tenderly brush away your spiritual tears. Now there is proof of a loving God, a loving Father, Mother God. So let us bring all those thoughts together, those feelings, those emotions, those sentiments of love that we shared from Teresa's own mouth. Teresa, a great mystic, a great spiritual teacher. She's given you and me a blueprint of entering our soul, the gateway to God. But our heart, when we surrender our heart becomes the gateway to our soul, and the soul the gateway to God. Let us close our eyes now. Let us take a deep breath. And now let us release to Mother Earth. And as we breathe in again, let us breathe in the love of God. And in our out breaths, let us release blessing to God for speaking to our hearts and for showing us another way, a way that is simple and is easy to comprehend. As we sit now relaxed, let us visualize the shepherd in the field. He's aware that one of his sheep is in distress. It has fallen down a small cliff, a small ravine, and the sheep has hurt itself and can't get its balance. It's struggling, and the more it struggles, the weaker it becomes. And the farmer rolls up his sleeves and climbs down the ravine. And first he reassures the troubled sheep, and the sheep becomes calm because he knows the voice of the shepherd. It knows the voice of the farmer, and it has trust in the farmer. And he knows that he will risk his life for it, so there is a sense of security. And the farmer rescues the sheep and puts it on his back and straddles up the ravine and leads it to safety. This is an analogy of what God is willing to do for you and me. And He's done it for me many times in my life. When I've fallen down through illness and found it really difficult to get back up again, when the depression was really deep and dark, all those years ago, when there were so many physical losses, it was such a struggle. But you know, out of the struggle, out of the pain and the fear, there was a light, and the light was hope. From my face, that God would not abandon me, that when I cried out to Him, He sent me the help I needed, not the help I expected. For the help that was given was by far greater and richer. Hence me doing the work I do today. Otherwise, like the poor helpless sheep, I would have been left on the cliff to wither away and die through willful stubbornness and neglect. So too is the Father, Mother God when they portray Jesus the Good Shepherd. He will stoop to any lengths to rescue your heart and mind. So I just want you to see Him now bending over you and comforting you, because He is here now. I know He is. I sense His presence for you. And I am not playing on your emotions. Just be still and visualize the Good Shepherd leaning over you to rescue you, to comfort you in your fear, your anxiety, in your distress. And He whispers to you, "Be not afraid, for I am with you. You called me by name. I am here. Now allow me to care for you. Allow me to love you. Allow me to show you the way." And all He asks is to trust, to surrender your heart to your truth, to that inner voice of knowing in your being that determines right from wrong. We call our conscience. If you are in a place where you feel beyond help, where life has let you down, where relationships have gone pear-shaped, or where illness has left you weak and vulnerable, please trust me. The moment you ask God for help, I give you my word. He comes to you. He will come to you if you are willing to be patient, to be still, to trust. The relationship is about trust. And in that relationship of trust, love grows. Love is nurtured. For love begets love. So as we bow our head, we give thanks to the Good Shepherd for reaching down now and anointing us with the oil of gladness. Sense the touch of the Christ. Anoint our forehead with the healing oils of love. Just sense the peace of God. Sense the love and the power of God. And just relax, be still. And remember that we are never left to suffer alone. We are never left to struggle alone. For when we shout for help, a legion of angels, messengers of love, are sent to us. And the reason why we don't often see them or feel them or sense them is because we are afraid. Let there be no fear now. Surrender your fear, and all will be well. May the peace of God, in all its richness and beauty, touch you now and set you free. Thank you for joining me. May God reward you and enrich your life with the love of God. Namaste. Shalom inshallah paxat bonum. Om Shanti. Solo de Caritas. Peace.